The alarm blared at 6 a.m., its shrill sound piercing through the dimly lit apartment. Maya groaned, slapping the snooze button before sitting up reluctantly. Her one-bedroom apartment in the heart of Mumbai overlooked a skyline dotted with cranes, glass towers, and ceaseless streams of honking traffic. The city never slept, it only shifted gears. For the past 7 years, Maya had built her career as a marketing executive in a top advertising firm. Her days were filled with deadlines, client calls, and endless coffee refills. The pace thrilled her at first, the sense of belonging to something fast, dynamic, and important. But lately, the same rhythm that once excited her had become exhausting. Every morning she joined the throng of commuters, pushing her way into a crowded local train, surrounded by hundreds of tired faces. Everyone seemed to be running, to work, to meetings, to some undefined finish line. Maya often wondered what they were all racing toward. Her phone buzzed as she walked out of the train station. A message from her boss blinked on the screen. Need the new campaign pitch by 10 a.m. Don't be late for the meeting. By the time she reached the office, her coffee was already cold, her nerves stretched thin. Meetings followed meetings, emails piled up, and she barely noticed the day slipping away. It was past 9 p.m. when she finally shut down her laptop. Outside, the city glowed, but to her, it felt less like light and more like noise. That night, as she scrolled aimlessly through social media, she came across a post from her childhood friend, Ria. A picture of rolling green fields, a small cottage, and Ria's smiling face filled the screen. The caption read, "Finding peace where Wi-Fi is weak but the soul is strong." Something in those words tugged at Maya. She couldn't remember the last time she'd felt at peace. The following weekend, impulsively, she messaged Ria, "Hey, where exactly are you these days?" Ria replied within minutes. "In Himachal. Moved here last year to start an eco-farm with a few friends. You should come visit. You need a break." Maya smiled but dismissed the idea at first. Leave the city. Even for a week. Her work wouldn't allow it. But as the days went by, the thought refused to leave her. She found herself daydreaming about open skies and silence instead of PowerPoint slides and office gossip. A month later, after an especially draining week that ended with her boss yelling at her over a typo, Maya snapped. She opened a travel website, booked a ticket to Himachal, and turned off her phone for the weekend. The train journey was long and winding, moving steadily away from the urban sprawl into landscapes that grew greener and quieter with every passing hour. When she finally reached the small mountain town where Ria lived, the air felt crisp and alive, scented with pine and earth. Ria greeted her with a tight hug. "You look exhausted," she said, studying Maya's pale face. "I feel exhausted," Maya admitted. Ria laughed softly. "Then you've come to the right place." The farm was a modest patch of land nestled between hills. A few cottages dotted the area, with rows of vegetables, fruit trees, and chickens wandering freely. There was no sound of honking cars, no neon lights, no urgency. Just birdsong and wind. The first night, Maya couldn't sleep. The silence was unsettling after years of city noise. She kept expecting to hear sirens or the hum of air conditioners. But by the second night, the quiet began to soothe her. Days passed slowly, beautifully. She helped Ria plant saplings, fetched water from a nearby stream, and learned how to bake bread using a wood-fired oven. The work was tiring but fulfilling. She felt her muscles ache in ways that reminded her she was alive. In the evenings, they sat on the porch sipping herbal tea while the sun dipped behind the mountains. Conversations flowed easily. Laughter came naturally. and for the first time in years, Maya didn't feel the urge to check her phone. One afternoon, as she was picking tomatoes, Ria said, "You know, you could stay here for a while. We could use your marketing skills to help promote the farm." Maya hesitated. "I can't just leave my job. It's my career. Is it your passion, though?" Ria asked gently. The question lingered. That night, lying under a blanket of stars, Maya realized she didn't have an answer. When her return date approached, she felt torn. The city represented security, ambition, and everything she had worked for. But here, in this rural haven, she felt something she hadn't felt in years: contentment. She went back to Mumbai, determined to resume her life. Yet, everything felt different. The city seemed louder, faster, and somehow smaller. She returned to work, but her heart wasn't in it. Each meeting felt meaningless, each presentation hollow. A month later, her boss announced a new campaign. "We're targeting young professionals seeking peaceful getaways. We need to capture the essence of rural tranquility." Maya almost laughed. She knew that tranquility wasn't something you could package and sell. It was something you had to live. That night, she made a decision. She resigned the next morning. Her colleagues were shocked. Her boss thought she was making a mistake. But for the first time, Maya felt sure of her choice. She packed her belongings, sold most of her furniture, and returned to Himachal. Ria welcomed her with open arms. "So, you're really doing this?" Maya nodded. "I think this is where I'm meant to be." She started by helping with marketing, creating a website and social media pages for the farm. Soon, visitors began arriving, city folks like her, seeking escape. They came for weekends, learned about sustainable living, and left rejuvenated. As months passed, the small farm grew into a thriving eco-retreat. They built more cottages, started workshops on organic farming, and collaborated with local artisans to sell handmade crafts. Maya's creativity bloomed in ways it never had in the city. She wrote blog posts about slow living, designed brochures filled with images of dawn mist and smiling farmers, and handled guest communications with warmth and sincerity. One day, while guiding a group of visitors around the farm, she noticed a man sitting alone under a tree, sketching the landscape. He looked up and smiled when their eyes met. "I'm Arjun," he said. "I'm an architect. Came here for a break, the city was getting too much." They talked for hours that day, about art, life, and how both of them had traded comfort for peace. Arjun ended up staying longer than he'd planned. Over time, their friendship deepened into something more. Years later, the eco-retreat had become a model for sustainable tourism in the region. Maya and Arjun expanded it thoughtfully, ensuring it remained rooted in simplicity and community. Every morning, Maya woke to the sound of birds instead of alarms, to fresh air instead of smog. She still worked hard, but her work now had meaning. Each day brought tangible results: a new crop harvest, a guest's smile, a repaired fence. She often thought about her old life: the rushing trains, the crowded streets, the endless deadlines. The city had taught her ambition, but the countryside had taught her peace. One evening, as she sat watching the sun melt behind the hills, Ria joined her. "Do you ever miss the city?" Ria asked. Maya smiled softly. "Sometimes. The energy, the lights. But not the rush. Here, I finally learned that success doesn't have to
mean speed. It can mean stillness, too." The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the scent of wildflowers. Maya closed her eyes and breathed deeply, feeling a quiet joy fill her heart. She had once believed happiness was found in skyscrapers and promotions, in applause and recognition. But now she knew. Real happiness was simpler. It was in the soil beneath her hands, in the laughter of friends, in the slow rhythm of days lived with purpose. As the stars appeared one by one in the vast sky, Maya whispered to herself, "I didn't escape the city. I found myself beyond it." The city rush had once defined her life, but the serene rural retreat had redefined her soul. And in that stillness, she found what she had been searching for all along, not success, but peace.